We can't do a generative AI 101 course without touching on generative AI policies. Now, the Scaling AI course series is going to have an entire course dedicated to generative AI. It's a rapidly changing space, but I think it's really important to address a few key things here. The first thing we have to understand is that you don't own what you create with generative AI. I'm going to repeat that. You do not own what you generate with generative AI tools. Now, you can commercialize them. Your rights from Midjourney and OpenAI and Adobe and all these places, like you can commercialize them. You can create logos, taglines, you can write articles, you can do all these things. But there is nothing stopping anyone from doing the same thing and taking your work. So, at least in the United States, copyright law says that a human has to be the author, and a prompt does not equal authorship. Now, stay tuned. There are lots of moving pieces here. The Copyright Office has been going through listening sessions. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is going through listening sessions. Like, they are considering whether or not to adapt the law moving forward. But at the moment, this is where we are. This is the AI Mastery membership that I mentioned earlier. This is the kind of thing we're going to be talking about on a regular basis. So while we're teaching this within piloting, it's a moving target. And so it's really important we stay on top of it. Also, it's extremely important that you talk to your IP attorney or your legal team internal. As an example, as of December 2023, OpenAI was being sued, and Microsoft was being sued by the New York Times for infringing on their copyrights by using New York Times articles to train their language models. So, again, not going into great detail in this course here, but a few things to consider. So every company, I believe, has to have generative AI policies that guide the use internally, but also are transparent to your external audiences of how you use this stuff. So a few key things that these generative AI policies should answer. Are employees allowed to use text, image, video, audio tools to generate external/internal content? Now, you need rules for both. It's okay for this internal use case. It's not okay for this one. It's okay for this external use case. It's not okay for this one. You need to guide employees on whether or not they have to disclose their use of AI in the final outputs. Like, there's a very realistic possibility 1 to 2 years from now, 50% or more of corporate emails are going to be written by AI largely. Like, they're going to get really good at just drafting the reply for you, and you just say, yeah, send it. Are we supposed to say every time my AI wrote this? This may have been written by AI. Kind of like when you get a message from someone's iPhone, it's like, pardon the mistakes, this was sent from my phone or whatever. You're going to say, like, pardon the hallucinations, this was written by my AI. I don't know. Like, I highly doubt that. But this is what we need to be considering. How and when are we allowed to use these things? How and when do we need to disclose it? To your employees, what tools are they allowed to use? How should they use them? What are the guardrails? What are they allowed to put in these things in the prompt? What examples are they allowed to use? Working with your IT people, what are the data and security risks associated with this? So when you're building generative AI policies, you really need to think about these things. Here's an example of a sample policy from Fisher Phillips that I found online that you can click on the link and kind of check out this sample policy, but there's some do's here and some don'ts. This is a good example of what a policy should generally look like. And again, it's from a law firm, so it's better guidance that I can give you as a non-lawyer. But here's a really simple example from Wired Magazine that I use a lot and I love because of its simplicity. Now, I am not saying you should follow these same 8 rules. What I'm saying is it's super clear, super simple. As both an employee of Wired, it makes sense. And as a reader of Wired Magazine, if I want to know how Wired uses AI, it makes sense. I think what's going to happen is corporations, brands will have generative AI policies on their site the same way they have like terms of use on their site. And if I want to go see how you're using generative AI, I will click through that. I do not want to see at the front of every blog post, this was 50% written by a human, 50% written by AI. I don't care. Like, I just want to know generally how you think about AI and how you use it. So this is something to consider. Now, that being said, there needs to be some standardization around how we watermark or not authentic images. So like if I create an image or if I create a video, do I watermark it if it was AI generated or if it wasn't AI generated, if a human did it? We don't have answers to this right now. And this is why it's such a fascinating space. And it's great that you're sort of at the leading edge to start trying to figure this out for yourself and for your company and for our industry. Okay, we're going to move on to the final lesson of this course.